Well, hello there. Anita here, and I want to start by saying once again, congratulations on finishing the Living Embodied 5-day journey to greater body love and wild soul living. I mean, this just shows how committed you truly are to creating lasting change in how you connect to your body and your desire to live a life that is truly connected to and guided by your wild soul. Now, if you're like most members who have successfully now finished this journey, you're most likely asking yourself, well, how do I continue down this path? And what's next? Which is only natural, right? We've only had 5 days together, but 5 days is only 5 days. So what's next? How do you take all the learnings and experiences from this week, from this 5-day journey, so that you can now experience lasting and expanded body love and body trust, and close the gap between where you currently are in your level of wild soul living to really having all three essential rewilding elements in place, the ones that we talked about in day 5, to have those aligned, embodied, connected, and free, no longer turning back to the false promises of dieting culture and toxic beauty standards, or denying the truth of what you desire, what you are hungry for, what you're hungry to experience. We talked about that, right? That there's other hungers besides just the physical ones. It is more than possible. I want you to know that, to live your life from this fully embodied place. And to do this, there are 7 key stages that you have to walk through and that tie into and expand on those 3 rewilding elements that we discussed, in order for you to go from just experiencing a glimpse of what it would be like to live this way, like you did this week, to actually experiencing a full-on transformation where it becomes just your natural way of living and connecting to your body and soul, where you're just every day feels like you're living embodied, you're feeling connected. There's not this gap, and it's not just a 5-day experience. It's now your life. Now, that's exactly what we're going to focus on this final video. So you can move forward beyond this 5-day journey and into living your life in sacred embodiment and from the wisdom of your wild soul. But first, before we go there, I want to take a look back at, all the things you've done this week and how far you've already come, because you've come further than you probably are giving yourself credit for. All right, so let's dive in. In the first video, the welcome video, I shared with you why embodiment and connecting with your soul are essential to breaking free, not only from dieting consciousness, but to shifting every element of your life. Okay, and then we really got started, right, on our journey. I showed you the importance of creating a sacred container and had you clarify your intentions, and you understood the key distinctions between body and soul, as well as a revolutionary way of defining them, probably maybe different than anything that you've seen before. Maybe it's been a while. Then you made your list, right? Which gave you clarity in not only understanding what you deeply desire and need in a healthy relationship and a partnership, but also what your current relationship with your body is like, and what you wanted to focus on bringing into it so that it can be the happy, trusting, and loving connection that you've always desired. That was the power of the list. Okay, then we kept going on our journey and we moved into really having you experience embodiment practices. You explored everyday acts or you explored how everyday acts such as nourishment and movement could actually feel so much richer, right? They could feel sensual, electric, and joyful when you do them from a place of full embodiment. Then we moved even deeper into connecting with your wild soul. and you discovered how the body and soul work in rapport. And you went through a soul journey, right? Where your soul, your wild soul, spoke to you very clearly and succinctly about what she or he needs to feel fully aligned and free. You got messages of what needed to go and what needed to come in, all from your soul. And then finally, in the final stage, we broke down how to continue receiving essential downloads and intuitive guidance from your wild soul beyond a one-day meditation session. You learned the 3 essential rewilding elements, which were basically pacing, how to pace yourself, observing, and why that's so important, and having your pack. Those 3 elements that could help you start to truly live from and embody your wild soul. Again, I'm hoping that you're feeling a sense of pride as I go through this list, because that is a lot that you accomplished in 5 days. I'm super proud. But I want to talk to you a little bit more because I know, again, we're having this 5-day experience. How do we make it our life? And I want to share a quick story with you. I shared a little bit of my story with you in the welcome video, but I told you and I alluded there that there were other places that were pivotal turning points. And a little bit of what I wanted to talk to you about today is how I went from just, holistic living and holistic nourishment into everything that we're talking about here, right? Wild soul living and embodied living. Because you see, I was at a place where I had gone through my training. I talked a little bit about this, but I want to go deeper. I had gone through my training in holistic nutrition, and I was certainly shifting how I thought about food. Definitely, I was moving into eating more whole foods, moving away from, just having my house filled with dieting foods. And in many ways, my life felt like it was on a new track. But there were definitely still secret places within me that weren't quite healed, that I didn't even fully realize that I had sort of traded, dieting culture for toxic ideas around wellness culture and what I thought it meant to live well. And I was still, if I was really honest with myself, very controlled around food, very controlled and fearful about like what I was eating. I still felt like I did a lot of what I call body checking, like checking my body in the mirror, checking it in my clothes, like not necessarily weighing myself every day or writing down everything I ate, but still very like not truly at home. And at this time, I was in my eating psychology program. And so actively working on healing those still residual elements. And like I said in the other video, that was when I came across Dr. Estes' work and diving more into really looking at the soul. And what I didn't share with you then is that it was a really like kind of come to Jesus moment, right? It was like this big epiphany where I had to come to face, I guess, really things from myself and in my life that were truly out of alignment and were keeping me from, which is a little bit of what you did in the 5-day journey, right? Just a glimpse of that, of like where I wasn't really being honest about where my life needed to go. And I started to make connections between how I was still being very controlled about food and my body and where I wasn't really living in full soul expansion. And that book and diving into that book, that wasn't the only thing, but it certainly was a key part in how I started to not just be in this whole holistic place of like what I thought holistic meant, but moving into really, okay, how do I fully become this central and embodied being? How do I really, really, truly let go of still these strange, like little, like I said, behaviors I had or habits I had around checking my body and still trying to control my body? And what were the things I was finally going to start to say yes to? in my life so that I could be the most realized version of myself and really live in truth. And so some of those things included, breaking off an engagement that was really hard, finally taking us an essential trip to Italy, which really shifted my life. I mean, now I run retreats for other women to Italy. You're invited if you want to come. We're going in September. And getting honest about, work and the work I was doing in the world. And honestly, finally starting to let go of those secret controlling behaviors that were keeping me stuck. In addition, I also started to incorporate, more magical practices into my life that started to give me both a community and containers. I know I say a lot about containers, but they're super important in which to sort of channel what I desired and channel my learnings and have support around all of that. I really feel like my life, especially around 2016 in particular, went from just being okay and like 3D to 4D and really feeling like, okay, now I'm starting to live from the truth of who I am. And because I was doing that, I was embodying that, the relationship with my body also drastically changed. And so I wasn't just talking about body image and changing body image, but I was actually truly embodying and living that truth, if that makes sense. And so I just wanted to share that with you because I want you to know that wherever you're at on this journey, and it is an unfolding, it's not like a one-time deal. 5 days is great, but I, really want to help you expand on that. It's entirely possible to go from a place where you don't quite feel at home in your body, you don't quite feeling like you're living the truth of who you are, to, not that every day is, rainbows and unicorns, but I just can't tell you the amount of energy that's now been freed up in my mind and in my heart that used to be focused on body control and sort of hiding the truth of who I was, to really living in this expansive place. It's 1,000% possible. But to get to truly living in sacred embodiment and from the wild soul, we definitely need those three rewilding elements in place. And within those, right, are actually 7 key stages that help them come alive and on board. We've got the three elements, and then inside of those, we can actually, clarify 7 key stages within them. I'm going to share those with you now. As I told you in this video, right, I'm going to give you more of the tools to make this a permanent change. Okay, stage 1, and we did a little bit of all of these. We did a little bit of all of these in the 5-day journey, but there's more. So stage 1 is, again, a clarity of why and opening up a sacred circle. I cannot emphasize to you the importance of having, and that's part of those 3 elements, right? Of having a supportive community, a group of people that will be with you on your journey. This has been essential for me in this transformation. So we need to create that sacred container. You did that for yourself at home, but there is a way, and it is important to not only have that within your home base, but also who are your people, who are your pack that are going to help you create that. And you sort of have this circle of sisterhood or brotherhood around you in creating the magic that you want. Because this is really about reclaiming the magic of who you are. And so that is an essential element, getting very clear about your why as well. And it's almost like having this chrysalis, right? This container when the butterfly is changing, there is this protective container that the caterpillar moves through. So when everything sort of feels murky and confusing, they know, okay, I'm in the safety of this container. And that is something that you also need to create as you go through your own metamorphosis. Then the next step is the excavation. Now, what does that mean? Well, in order to reclaim the magic of who we are and what we seek, we also have to fully understand what led to this moment. Like, what were the things, what were the experience that stole our magical impulses and siphoned our body wisdom? Because again, you at one time fully had that. Children, when they're not blocked, innately have that. And so excavation processes are key. So once you have your sacred container, excavating the truth and unearthing what is your unique body story, what brought you out of body trust and body joy and into disembodiment and shame and feeling like you're at war with your body, right? And those ideas around food, movement, and beauty, what created that environment for you? Unearthing what those life events were that caused your soul to go into hiding, and really excavating the desires that you have, that could bring it back. So having love, curiosity, and kindness to really create your own personal roadmap is key to reclaiming your authentic self, to reclaiming your magic, to being in that wild soul living, to living with embodiment. Excavation. Okay, stage 3 is what I call remembering. And I'm touching my body because it's, yeah, remembering with our mind, but also putting your body almost back together. So just as dismembering, right? Taking parts of who you are, kind of, not literally, but you're starting, and sometimes literally, right? We try to change and shape shift the body so much, but we start to take off parts of ourselves to fit in these molds, right? Just as that part, dismembering the fullness of you and losing trust and connection to your body and soul were pivotal in creating the body story that you now have excavated, right, in stage 2. Remember, aka putting the forgotten parts of you back together, is the next pivotal piece in coming back into your fullest expression. So having practices, rituals, and daily pleasures that breathe new life back into those pieces of you, uh, that is what helps you reconnect and really get back to the truth of who you are. Then you move into stage 4, which is the art of sacred embodiment and authentic sensuality. Now, again, we've touched on pieces of these in these 5 days, but there's so much more. Because once the forgotten parts of you come back online, it becomes time to fully and lovingly start to enliven them. It's almost like learning how to walk again if you've not been able to for a while. I know I had a cast twice in my life, and it's like I had to, kind of use my leg in a new way after so much time. I had a lot of issues with my leg growing up. So getting back into your body, yeah, there's a way that, in a process in which we have to enliven ourselves again once we've done some of this work. Because being present, that's one thing, and that's part of what we practice. But to treat yourself as a being who is sacred, adored, cherished, and fully worthy of respect, love, and kindness is a whole other wonderful level for you to reach and to get to. So, in this stage, you want to then be reconnecting to the sacredness of your body, learning how to be in that divine partnership. We talked a little bit about that when you made that list, but then fully going into that and creating that divine partnership with your body home. And again, I can't say this enough, daily rituals, daily practices that support and allow your body to be in loving partnership with you, rituals that celebrate and adore and honor your body and your truth are so essential. So we did a little practice, right, with joyful movement, but joyful movement, food freedom, right? Feeling not scared around food, feeling at peace with food, having pleasure with food, full embodiment. It's all part of this step. Learning how to experience your world through what I call authentic sensuality, which for me I defined is simply using your 6 senses to not only take in the world around you, but to also express the truest essence of who you are in a way that feels authentic and aligned to you, is essential. So much in our culture when it comes to sensuality is really like trying on a different persona, But it's so important for you to feel empowered in like discovering actually, well, what makes me feel in my senses? What actually makes me feel beautiful? And yes, sensuality and sexuality often get confused. They go together, but they're not one and the same. But even when it comes to your sexuality, like what makes you feel fully expressed, not what some cultural ideal that is out there tells you is how you can be sexy or sensual, right? So that's what we mean by authentic sensuality. So when you start to embrace this, you walk away from, this experience, not only having body respect and body trust, but also that deep reverence, connection, and even fascination with your sacred body home. All right, stage 5, kind of flying through these, right? Is really learning and mastering how to listen to the wild, wise soul. Again, you had a little taste of that in this 5-day experience, right? We did that meditation and you got some messages that came through. But when it comes to reclaiming your magic, the magic of who you are, reconnection to your sacred body is one thing, but really having that trust and connection to your wild soul is just as important, right? We talked about how these work in tandem. The soul connects with the body as the wise consort to keep informing you what is truly in your best interest and highest delight and your path for expansion in this lifetime. And conversely, right, the body takes in the world and experiences around you and conveys them to your soul. So the goal here, right, is to be in resonance. And when the body and soul are in resonance, they can convey to you a feeling of true alignment. So, really, in this stage, you want to then have more of those experiences, more of those moments, not even moments, but really the way in which you live, where things seem to click. And that feeling of like, okay, I got it. It's like an aha moment, but you're living from that aha moment. And you just know what path you're supposed to be on and what path you're meant to walk. But these type of ahas, these types of clicks, these types of resonance and clarity only happen through deep listening and full embodiment so the soul can be heard, right? And we already know we live in a world that does not value that. It values logic, hustle culture, constrained ways of being. So it can be hard to really be in this intuitive, instinctive sense and connection with the wild soul. But it's that wildness that holds all the wisdom. And in that lies the magic. So, really mastering how to trust and hear the guidance of your wild and wise soul and make decisions that feel in total alignment, allowing your body and soul to work in tandem as they were designed to, that is going to keep you feeling re-energized in your connection to intuition, desire, and your ability to answer the call of the hungry heart, because our hearts do hunger, right? Again, nourishment comes in many forms. Now, this is an exciting stage. Once all these other elements have started to unfold, now you get to stage 6, which is the new vision. So, with reclaimed body soul magic back online, what happens is the way that you see the world probably at this point has significantly shifted. And it's kind of like having shoes in the wrong size. The life you had been living, the thoughts that you once had on repeat, and even the people or places that you once kept at the forefront of your existence, those things might start to rub the wrong way, feel too small for where you are going, and they simply don't fit. Okay, another way of saying this is mama needs a new pair of shoes, right? The old shoes are just not fitting. So what do you do? Well, the next step is then envisioning your new reality, right? Centering the elements of pleasure, purpose, alignment, and sacred body soul living as your new essential building blocks. In this stage, you stop playing small or living apologetically, and now you start to create your vision authentically and fully encompassing the magic of who you are. Now, that leads us to stage 7. And I have found that this stage is so important whenever I've had or been part of, magical experiences, magical containers that have shifted me in a profound way and shifted me in those stages that I just talked about. And so it kind of comes down, I call it closing the circle. So in the beginning, right, when you start to really go on, dive deep in a transformative journey, you have to create the container, create the cocoon, right? So you can have your metamorphosis. But as you walk through these other stages, then there comes a point where it feels like, okay, at least for that period of time, and with these individuals, I want to sort of close the circle. But there is a way to do that so that everything you learn stays there with you and you have a way to return to it. Let me explain a little bit more. So, just like we hold a ritual at the beginning of the journey, right? It's imperative to have the same type of reverence to bring that to a close. Now, we know that the world, we've already talked about this, does not prioritize magic, embodiment, sacredness, body wisdom, and wise and wild soul living. Like that just seems very alien concept out there in the quote unquote normal world. So, because of that, when you've been in a special container where you're actively working on reclaiming your magic, you're actively working on embodiment, you're actively working on having your wild soul come back online, that the other world, the rest of the world, will do its best to seduce you out of your new vision and back into the old stories of not enoughness. Again, we talked a little bit about this in the 5-day journey, right? That this is the way that, in a way, fear will keep you safe or try to keep you safe. And I have to say, the everyday world lives in a lot of fear. Like we don't condone or promote the way of living that you and I are talking about and that you and I are interested in. But it doesn't mean that it's wrong just because it's a little counter to what we're told. So therefore, when you are at the end of a certain leg of your journey in a sacred time, um, it's very important to also have ritual to fortify the beauty and the truth and the magic of what you've created, both as an individual and with your said pack, with your set people, your sisterhood, your brotherhood that's in your container. When you do that, when you take the time to do that in a very loving way, you walk away not only feeling supported in your new path, but there's a sense of empowerment and tools that you have and rituals that you create in that experience that you can call back in, when your magic feels like it's starting to slip away a bit, or when the culture tries to steal it. Because again, it will. So you have to have tools and rituals in place that you can return to that will connect you back to that special time and that special container. And that's all part of sort of the closing rituals, the closing ways. These are the 7 stages. These are the 7 steps that, again, do you see that connection to those 3 rewilding elements? Do you see how it goes into pacing? Because it's not just one big step. There's, an unfoldment. So pacing, observing because you're with others, you have a mentor or teacher by your side as you work through these stages. Okay. And a pack, right? Having a special group of individuals who are supporting you on your journey. So you have the people, you have the practices, you have the rituals and the learnings and the mentorship all within that framework. Now, maybe when I'm saying this, you think to yourself, that sounds like a lot of time. There's these 7 stages. There's these 3 elements. Like, I don't have a lot of time. I'm busy. I got a lot going on. Don't want to just drop a little pin in that about time. I want you to think for a moment How much time of your precious life, this is your one precious life, has been spent dieting, has been spent doing workouts or things that you hate, but all with the promise to make you feel it more at home in your body, but you feel more disconnected from your body, right? How much time has been spent doing jobs or taking on roles or saying yes to things that you absolutely hate, that have nothing to do and nothing to help you move you forward towards what you really desire? So, time, we have to think about it. Time is one of, if not, I think, the most valuable resource. So, yeah, is it take time to change the way that you've been connecting to your body and soul? Absolutely. However, there's been a lot of time spent doing things that have brought you further from it. So it's really about, how do I want to allocate my time? How do I want to spend the resource of my time, right? So that I can have the life and the connection with my body that I truly hope to. All right, now I've given you a lot of insight. We've had the 5-day journey. We talked about the 3 essential elements to rewilding. And now I've told you, right, the 7 key steps, the 7 key stages that will help you take it from just a 5-day journey and into a way of living your life from that place. Well, now that you have all this insight and you've had the experience in those 5 days of, embodiment practices, you now have this roadmap. The question is, what do you plan to do with all of this information? Are you finally ready to truly leave behind the old way of connecting to your body, the shame-based approaches to dieting and dieting culture and beauty culture, of living your life for others and not from the truth of your wild and wise soul? All of which, as you now know, only feed a loop of disembodiment and never feeling quite at home with and in your body. Are you finally at a place where you feel ready to embody and reclaim your magic, the magic that is there within you, but it's just been dormant, maybe for a really long time? Now, I really hope so, because if you've gotten this far, you are on board with my type of thinking here. And as you know, it takes practice, mentorship, guidance, and a supportive pack to truly have the lasting change you desire, not just a short experience of it. There are key learnings, rituals, and practices I could not fit into a 5-day experience. But there is also a way to have your transformation streamlined so it doesn't take years and years and years and years and the long route that I took. So this is exactly why I have created, and this is what I'm so excited to share with you today, a new virtual group experience, so appropriately named Reclaim Your Magic. I mean, could there be a better name? Reclaim Your Magic. Reclaim it. It's yours. It's there. So this 11-week experience will take you through each of the 7 key stages that we discussed today, way more in depth. You're going to actually get to experience fully those 7 key stages and fully support you in the 3 key rewilding elements, because those 7 stages are built within those, which will finally help you make the leap into embodying and living in full pleasure, peace, trust, and reverence in your body and from your wild soul wisdom. Now, Reclaim Your Magic is going to be the perfect mix, I'm telling you, of live sessions. Like, there will be live sessions where you can ask questions in real time. There'll be some learning in real time. Those will meet weekly. You also have access to pre-recorded content and videos that you can watch at your own schedule. Downloadable PDFs to help guide your journey. A little bit, we did that this week, right? You had a little taste of that. A group form, because again, we want to create the pack. We want to create the container. We want to have the supportive circle, if you will, that will help us. So you'll have a group forum to connect with other members. And even, this is really exciting, an opportunity for a private coaching session with me. So This, or I call it RYM, Reclaim Your Magic, will take place over 11 magical weeks together, which will give us plenty of time to go slow, enough to really master and embody all of these learnings. But again, it's a fixed container of time, right? It's a circle, and there will be a closing to it so that you can experience steady progress that isn't years in the making, that you know, okay, here is the circle in which we are working with. It's truly all the best of what I've learned in eating psychology, body image, training that I've done with Dr. Estes, live and in person facilitator training. I've learned so much from her. She's a master teacher. And also all the magical practices that I've had training in, astrology, tarot, intuitive work, all of the ritual work and practices that I have personally dived into that have only enhanced me living in that wild soul, you know, passion, in that wild soul container, in that wild soul connection. All of that, everything that I've trained in, all wrapped into one beautiful experience for you. And in just a couple of days, I will be opening enrollment for Reclaim Your Magic, or RYM for short. I cannot wait to open enrollment and cannot wait to invite you. And that will be a time once we open enrollment for you to see. You will be able to read even more about it, and you'll be able to see if it's a good fit for you. And if you're a good fit for RYM, because I really want it to be the right group of people who will support each other in their pack. Now, I wanted to share with you a little bit about, maybe you're thinking, well, I've had this experience with you, Anita, but I've not worked with you. So I just wanted to share a couple of very quick testimonials from people who have worked with me in the past. And maybe you can hear a bit of yourself in them. So I'm just going to share a couple with you. And this one was from Rebecca, who said, I would recommend Anita's coaching to anyone who needs support around challenges they're facing in body image, weight, and career and relationships, or even just trying to feel more alive in the everyday moment. Anita always goes above and beyond in what she does. And truly, the best part of our work is feeling like I've gained a lifelong friend in Anita. And I feel much more energized and at peace in my daily life. It's been priceless. And this is from Andrea, who said, the biggest difference in working with you, that's me, versus what I've tried in the past was I used to do the work all by myself. And this time around, I had you to help me, and you did help me more than you could ever imagine. I want to thank you very much for the time we've had together. I feel so much better, and I want you to know I'm eternally grateful for our work. I had such great achievements, and I finally feel like I have control in my life in all aspects: food, my relationship with my spouse and daughters, my work, my workouts, etc. And I even see my relationship with my parents differently. I feel that I have more control and that I have the power back to make the right decisions for myself. Now, that's just two of my amazing clients that I got the privilege to work with. And if that sounds like something that you would want to experience, then I would highly recommend you consider Reclaim Your Magic once enrollment opens. Now, speaking of enrollment, it won't open technically until Monday, but if you already know right now that you're super interested and you're curious and it feels like it could just be the right next step for you, I will be sending a special early invite tomorrow, along with a very sweet surprise that you won't want to miss, but only if you actually open the invite will you see it, okay? I want to know who's really interested, so I'm going to wait till you open that email. But some of you, maybe it's you right now, you might know right now that, okay, I don't even need to wait for tomorrow. I already know I'm a definite yes. Like, Anita, give me the goods on this program. Let's make it happen. You know, you're fully ready to finally shift in a profound way your relationship to your body and start being the type of person who navigates life from that embodied, empowered place. And you're ready to live from your wild soul. You're done putting on the facade for other people and not living in the truth of who you are. If that is you and you already know you're kind of like a hell yes on this, then just simply reply to the email that I sent you that contained this video. Or you can also just drop me a line at Anita@AnitaAvalos.com. Last name is Avalos. So Anita@AnitaAvalos.com. Either one of those will work. And just let me know I'm in. You can put that in the subject line. You can put that in the first line. And I will be sure to send you a personal invite so that you will definitely have a spot. And the reason I say that is because this is the very first time I'll be running Reclaim Your Magic. So you're going to be part of a very special group. Okay. Which means you're also going to get the best price ever also on this program since it's the first round. But because it is the first round, I want to have this to be a very small, intimate group of just a handful of participants. And so I'd really love for you to be there. And that's why raising your hand and saying that you are a yes now is very important because it's going to be only a few people in this group. So if you already know, this sounds like it is for you, send me an email today as soon as you're done watching this. Now, I can't wait to see you there. Tomorrow, I will send the first early bird announcement and invite because you have made it on this journey with me. And then regular enrollment will open in just a couple of days. Thank you for being here. I hope you got a lot out of today's video and also in the 5-day experience. And I am pumped and excited to see you in RYM, aka Reclaim Your Magic. Let's make this happen. Let's just have a beautiful container and experience. So all of this can, instead of just being a nice to have, can be the way that you live your life on a daily basis. I'm sending you so much love. I'll see you soon. Bye for now.